Hello and welcome again to investingsuccess.ca and another of our short video presentations in which we continue to look at the astrology of the financial markets. In this chart that you see on your screen in front of you, I've got crude oil futures, continuous front month chart, and what I've done on this chart is I've overlaid Jupiter harmonic lines, Mars harmonic lines, and Neptune harmonic lines. And continuing on with what we've been talking about in the past couple of videos, using the Areste methodology, we're looking for those times when these harmonic lines intersect with each other. I've got a series of them marked here on the chart. Let's look at them in turn. Here's an intersection point dating back to the first couple trading days in January of this year, 2014. You can see that the price of oil had hit a Jupiter harmonic and it had reversed, and the stochastic, which I've got in the window down here, was signaling that yes, indeed, crude oil potentially was overbought. Price starts to come down, and a couple days later you hit the intersection point just as your stochastic records a negative crossover and a sell signal to the aggressive trader who wanted to go short. Price fell from $96.80 down to an ultimate low of 91. Even if you would have caught a piece of that downward move, it would have been a nice profit for you. There's no further intersections until April of 2014. And going into that one, you can see that the price of crude had been rising. It came within about $1 or so of this overhead resistance point at the Neptune harmonic. And you should have had a sense that something was going to turn, because your stochastic is suggesting that you're in overbought territory. You know that you've got this overhead resistance point. Your stochastic is starting to roll over. And in fact, the price drops, and just as that stochastic gives you that negative crossover, you hit the intersection point between your Mars and your Jupiter harmonics. That generates a sell signal on the short-term stochastic, and the price actually went from 101 and change down to a low of 98. And again, even if you would have caught, $1 of that move on a short sell, if you were aggressive enough, that's a nice short-term little take for you. Next crossing we have is here in July of 2014. Now I want to point out something very important here. The actual crossing of the lines does not have to occur necessarily right on top of your price action. So this is a crossing that occurs here, but the price action is down here. Nevertheless, look what happens. Price of crude is coming down, 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 down. The crossing date is here. Your stochastic is suggesting that you've got an oversold situation. And just as that crossing occurs, the price starts to tick up. Your stochastic gives you a positive crossover and emerges from oversold territory. And the question is, where would an aggressive trader have gone long in there? Hard to say, but you should have caught $1 or $2 of that move on a very short-term 2 or 3 day trade. And had you done so using this methodology, it certainly would have paid dividends for you. Now, in terms of additional crossings, I don't see any until we get to, at this point in time right here, and I'm just going to move my chart down here a little bit. This is looking like the end of October, and so quite likely what could happen here is, coming into the end of October, you could get some sort of an inflection point on crude. Now I see that price action is dangerously flirting with this Jupiter harmonic line here. It's likely that this could prove to be support. We may bounce off of there and chop around sideways into the end of the month. Then again, we could easily keep falling here, But the point is, coming into the end of October, you've got this crossover, and so there's going to be some kind of a trend change on crude, and so just be ready for it. Stochastics are indicating, we're getting into some pretty oversold territory here. And so, even if price does start to flail around, that doesn't mean you have to chase your tail and try to catch it. Wait until you're dealing with something closer to the end of October and this actual cross, because that's where you're going to get your most reliable signal here. And then beyond that, I'm seeing middle of December for another crossover. And so between now and the end of the year, you've got two opportunities coming at you on crude oil. And such is the power of these Oreste harmonic lines and the overlapping of them. And again, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I used to do these things by generating the chart, loading it into Microsoft Paint, using my ephemeris, using my Excel spreadsheet, figuring out where the starting and ending points were on the lines, drawing them into Microsoft Paint, putting them in my newsletter, and it was a tedious process. This market analyst software literally does all of that for you at the click of a mouse, and it is so easy to look at any commodity, any stock, any index, and very quickly determine when the next intersection points are coming at you. And if that then is something that you want to entertain a trade on, you simply watch your chart technicals, you wait and you anticipate for that crossing date, and you make your decision, buying or selling accordingly, and see what happens. So thanks again for watching, and as always, you can find me at investingsuccess.ca. And I do encourage you to visit the website. I do encourage you to take a look at some of the books that I have recently issued, the 2015 Astrology Almanac being one of them, and give some thought to subscribing to the Astrology E-Alert newsletter. And this is precisely the kind of stuff that we do talk about in every weekly edition of the newsletter. So thanks for watching, and have a wonderful day. Take care.